I was watching
So you were
a
saying?
Charlie Chang video, right? And he basically mentioned that everyone's on their own journey, and is you shouldn't compare yourself to other people, could just because like they're on a different path than you in general. Everyone's on a different path. Like they may see successes early on, but you probably just have a later blooming cycle in the cycle, right? And I think like Alex Hormozy says the same thing too. Like he talks
Yeah.
about how him and this guy started out at the same time, and this other guy was always ahead of him, and now he's like, I guess like objectively ahead in like a monetary standpoint, and then now this other guy feels like shit, and then
Hmm.
and then Alex basically said like, yeah, this kind of just taught me
Yeah.
it's like you are just who you compare yourself to. Like this guy's a millionaire, but then when he looks at me, he doesn't feel good about himself, and he's like, that's kind of funny, yeah, because this guy's always ahead of me.
I don't know why. Like I watched Beef like 3 weeks ago, but recently I was watching a lot of interviews of the cast, and one of them, young Mizuno, Paul in the show, he was saying something where he was like, because I think he was like on Jimmy Kimmel and or some talk show, and they're like, oh, like, hey, oh yeah, it was Jimmy Kimmel. It's like, hey man, how was acting? Like, were you a success out of the gate? Like, what was the whole process like for you? Was it easy? And he was like, no man, I was struggling for like 8 years straight. And then he was saying, then I think he said a quote something along the lines of, to pursue acting, you need to have some type of blind faith that this will work out, because it's a horrible process. You fail way more times than you succeed. Like you have to really believe in something, whether that be yourself or like your journey, an end goal, a higher power, that you will find that success at the end of the tunnel. And I think that same thing like really translates to like career, entrepreneurship and stuff like that. Like right now, it's so easy for us to be like, man, like, wow, we're failing, man. Like drop shipping has been going badly. I've launched 4 products that have all failed. I'm not getting big brand deals, as big of brand deals as other friends that are similar size, if not smaller than me. But then it's like, you got to have that blind faith to pursue anything worthwhile. And I think that's what I've been like really telling myself lately, like as I wake up and like go throughout my day. It's like, like you just have to believe, like keep going at it day by day, showing up, and eventually the stars will align and something will come out of it.
Me too.
That's what I like to tell
Honestly,
myself.
I think like the past 2 years, it has taught me a lot just in terms of like, I guess like personal discipline, not discipline in the way of like I wake up at 5 a.m. every single day and I get in front of my computer. More just discipline of like trying to not let these like bad thoughts get to you, right? Of like discipline your mind to being like these thoughts exist, but trying to block them out, being like, okay, but I need to get to work, because if I let these thoughts drag me down, then I only go down, right? Like it's hard. Like I compare myself to like, when I was in engineering, I compare myself to other engineers. When I was in banking, I compare myself to other bankers. Now I'm a creator, I compare myself to other creators. It's a never-ending game. It really, I think that's the first thing I learned. Is like you're always going to compare yourself to other people. You try your best to not do it, but it's kind of human nature.
I think ultimately in the end, like the only people that really win the game is the people that get off the game. The people that get off the hamster wheel, like they're done, and they just like they're the real winners of the game out there. And I'm trying hard to do that, but it's just, especially as someone who, on paper has won the game throughout high school, throughout college, throughout initial early career stuff. Like I've been on like a pretty high on the leaderboard, but then it's like the leaderboard is infinite, bro. Like it never ends, So I'm trying to teach myself to get off of that leaderboard and just pursue what I want to do.
I actually think of it differently. Like in terms of, I know what you're talking about, but when I think about like winning the game, I actually think people who win the game are those that like never quit the game. So what I mean by that is understanding that like this game can go on forever. And like, so in a like RPG game, right? You can cheat your way or find someone to like boost you up to like a high level, right? Or you can grind on your own and then get to a high level. But the person that, let's say the maximum level in this game is 120, right? Let's say a person reaches level 90 in like a week because he had someone that basically boosts his account because our person's like super high level already. For example, in real life, let's say this person had rich parents, already had capital, gave this kid a lot of money, was able to like basically hop steps in life, right? But the person at level 9 just quits then it didn't matter. He's forever at level 90. But then a person that grinded his way took 10 years to get to like level 90 and he's still going to like level 120. Eventually, in a long run, that guy wins. And on top of that, he has built so much like discipline, skills, fundamentals, and knowing that he worked his way to get to 120 or level 90, rather than a person just like, I got here in 3 weeks and doesn't even appreciate it.
Yeah. This is kind of a good transition to like what we kind of wanted to talk about today about like job, career, and just like thinking about the whole thing. Like just trying to go throughout this crazy journey of life and figuring out what the hell we're trying to do. You know, like I guess what are some of the thoughts that you had?
Yeah.
Like, some of the thoughts that you wanted to discuss.
I
today?
want to talk about today about quitting our jobs. So, if you guys all know, my name is Andrew, first of all, made me duck on socials. I quit my job in January 2021 to basically pursue entrepreneurship full time, right? I've been doing it for the past 2 years. It's been a complete shit show of a ride, up and downs constantly. Love it and hate it. Some days don't want to wake up, other days love waking up. But I kind of want to have this like conversation with you in terms of like, I'm kind of curious your mindset and your thoughts about how you view like jobs and quitting jobs. Because obviously I opted for a path of quitting my job, which I'll share later on an episode about why I did so. But I'm kind of curious about you. How do you think about like quitting jobs, and why, I guess like the question is like, why haven't you left your position to like pursue entrepreneurship full time? What are some of the thought processes you go through?
I think the number one reason for me though is the fact that there's definitely a part of me that wanted to quit my job and go full time on entrepreneurship. But, you know, due to some like extenuating circumstances, like family, having to provide some here and there and like take care of people, like I couldn't do that, you know? So if I were like in like a different situation where I didn't have a little bit of that responsibility on me, there's a good chance that I would have quit my job by now. But then on top of that, I think a big reason for me not quitting my job is, I think like, especially in this SF tech Silicon Valley culture, it's always about like, you're never going to grow if you don't quit your job. You got to take it seriously, and the real ones can quit their job. And look, you're not wrong. But at the same time, I think I started talking to people that didn't do pure venture investing, but some people that did like growth investing. And for those that are like not super aware, venture investing is when you're like pre-product, super, super early. It's like almost like a blind bet, whereas growth investing is where for a company that's pretty established, probably a couple million in revenue already. And it's like just to take them to that next step. So I have a couple friends that are like growth investors who have talked to people that they're like, yeah, they haven't raised any funding to this day. They just are a 2-person company. They've just been crushing it up until now. And then also stumbling onto like the indie hacker community on Twitter. So basically indie hacker is exactly just kind of like what I said. It's like these people, usually like one person or two people that bootstrap their company. They don't hire a big team. They keep it super lean and they just do what they want to do. And it's like, sure, they're not going to make as much money as like a venture-backed company. It's a huge company with thousands of employees, but it's like if you're a single person running a 1 or 2 person business with your best friend or partner that makes like $2 to $3 million a year, that's a pretty good gig. Like that's not bad. You live a really good life doing that. And I think that kind of appeals to me a little bit more. I think I realized like if I were to go down that traditional route of venture company and like getting investors on my board, they're just like breathing down my neck. I have to like listen to these people that I don't like, waste time with people that I don't like, that are like really putting a lot of pressure on me. I don't like that. And I think I want to optimize for freedom where I literally I don't have to listen to anyone except myself. I call the shots. I do what I want to do at all times. And I realized for that type of company, it doesn't make sense that you don't have to quit full time to do whatever you want. You know, it's like you can, at least I know for myself, I am disciplined enough where I can work a full-time job and context switch super quickly to work on other things. You know, some of my other friends that are in the startup space where they did quit their full-time jobs and did raise money, when I asked them about it, they did say like the reason why they quit was because they know that they cannot multitask. They're like so like extreme personality. They can only do one thing and one thing only at a time. And that's why they quit. So I at least know, I just have belief in myself that I don't have to quit to do something, like to do it well, because I didn't quit my job and I was able to still grow my social media following to like over 230,000 people, make a couple $1,000 a month, find the time to build software products as well. So it's like, you know, I don't feel like I need it. I feel like I have a proven track record for myself where I know I can multitask, but that's not the case for everybody.
You know what's so funny? If you were to tell anyone what you're doing right now about like you creating content, you building these products on site, you're working your job, honestly, you're killing it. Like when I hear that, I feel like you're killing it, dude. I mean, I do think you're killing it. But
Thank you. Thank you.
so what would be like the tipping point for you in terms of like you've reached a point where like, yeah, I'm out. I'm gonna do my own thing. Is it just like enough to like make the same salary?
I'll be super transparent with how much money I make. My salary right now is roughly 190, I think, 190K a year. It's pretty high.
Without bonus?
My month-to-month expenses is pretty low though. Like I would say what my take-home pay is like post-tax 10K a month, and I don't spend anywhere close to that. My month-to-month expenses probably are like the 6K range. So I have like 4 to 3K like saved every single month, right? So for me, I think I could make as much money doing social media if I really took social media super seriously. I totally think that I could. But for me, I never want to be, I've kind of come to the realization that I don't want to be a full-time influencer. I don't want to be a full-time content creator. Like any money that I make strictly from content, it's just fun money. It's like, that's a nice vacation money, extra savings for like a car or a house in the future. But I would never quit my job just to do content only. So really for me, that ripcord moment for me would be when I make a software product that actually makes me a substantial amount of money that lets me at least make like 100K is what actually maybe a little more, like 120K for made purely from a standalone company, like a SaaS company, not from social media, is what would take it from me. Because I genuinely enjoy coding. I'm not one of the people that went into coding for the money. Like I genuinely have a really fun time. I love building, and I don't want to give that up. So I really still want to be actively building product and then coding out products. So that's what it would take for me to really take that.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like, honestly, I agree with everything you said. Like working a job and building a company, it takes away like all the financial stress of like building a company when it comes to it. Also, like you don't need to raise capital. I mean, you still could, but like you don't have to, because you can like bootstrap yourself through like your own personal salary. And it's like you don't have to listen to investors.
Yeah.
You don't feel that pressure of like I'm burning someone's money and they're going to be constantly hounding down my back of like when am I going to get my return on investment. You can take vacations if you want to and be like, no, I'm going to take a break this month to build this next month, right? Honestly, I think that's the way to go about it. I'm going to be honest. But I guess like the reason why I left my job to do what I'm doing right now, well, number one, it's because I just hated my job. So kind of opposite of you. Like I did not enjoy investment banking at all. I just didn't want to work that job anymore. Straight up, I was just like, screw this, I'm out. I'll work on something else, build my own thing, rather than I keep working the shop. And number two, I don't know if you have this, but I have a weird thing about me where I almost wanted to get the experience of quitting my job and being put in like a starving mindset of like, this is everything's on the line. Like I almost wanted that non-security. Did you ever feel like that? Like, did you ever want that to be like, this is like the
No, of course, man. It's like, it's funny how you said like, dude, like you're doing it the right way. You're not quitting your job. You're making sure like your life doesn't become super shitty and you're not super stressed out. But I mean, you know, I think it's like grass is always greener on the other side. Because for me right now, I'm just like, wow, like I have so much unrealized potential because I haven't been going out as hard as I possibly could. And I like a reason why there's still this part of me deep down inside where I'm like, oh my God, I want to quit my job. I want to do this business full time. I want to do content and like go harder on the content. It's because you're right. I want to be put in that situation where I'm like, all right, dude, like back against the wall. You got to figure this out. Like it's do or die right now, you know? And obviously it's like super privileged that either of us can say that because we have like
100%.
support from our family and like friends as well. Like not everybody can say that, like, you know? Yeah. But no, I totally agree. So it's funny because you're saying like, dude, Thomas, you're doing it the right way, man. You're taking it easy, like, or you're not taking it easy. It's like you're making sure that you're safe. You're not. You're being very practical about it. But at the same time, I'm over here. I'm just like, oh, dude, like you're going all in. You're chasing your dreams. You know, like you're doing it. And ultimately, there's no right or wrong way. Like one's not better than the other. And ultimately, like no matter, I think one thing that really annoys me about Silicon Valley in general is like people are so prescriptive about this is how you build a business. You must do X, Y, Z. Like particularly Y Combinator. I don't want to be a critic of Y Combinator. They do great things. And I hear from my friends that are in the program as well, they say it's a phenomenal program. There's so many helpful resources. But I think it really contributes to this hive mind mentality within San Francisco that there's one way to build a company, and it's like the YC way. And I just don't think that's true. I think you can build. There's no one right answer to do anything. There's literally like so many different ways you can go about
I feel
it.
like
So
it's almost
yeah.
like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Half the reason why I made this decision was because I've been influenced by like the media, the Silicon Valley culture, where it's like we're going all in, right? You look at Justin Kahn, you look at Mark Zuckerberg,
For
you
sure.
look at just any other founder, honestly, not even the big ones. It's like all their stories, it's like college dropout or I went all in this. Like none of it, like you don't hear too many, even though like there are a lot. They're very easy to find where it's like someone built a very, very successful product while working a job and then eventually just quit that job to go build the product, right? But then those stories aren't glorified. What are the ones that glorify? The ones that it's like, I quit my job, I started this company, today's $1 billion valuation. Look at what I did. Look how great I am. And I honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I fell trapped to that. And I want that story for myself too. And I think it's kind of toxic, honestly, because like it's almost like why would you subject yourself through like this amount of stress just to like fulfill your ego and to say like you did the same and you had that story of like going all in when in reality you don't have to do that, even though like you said, there are pros and cons to each. There are pros and cons to each. Like one is like for me, I can dedicate all my effort, all my brain power, all my capacity to this, but I lacked like the financial stability. While for you, it's like, well, opposite of what I just said. Yeah.
So I think that's so true. But the thing, like, I think the thing that people don't really talk about is the fact that, like, for example, the two examples that you gave, Justin Kahn and Mark Zuckerberg, it's not like they blindly fell into going full time with no traction. You know, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college when Facebook was already growing like thousands of users per day, like wildfire. And then when Justin Kahn, when he decided to go out and do startups full time as well after he graduates from college, he already has built and sold a product with his like one of his co-founders, like Emmett or something. Like what is
the
it?
calendar app?
Like
Yeah,
Kiko, his like a calendar app. He sold it. Yeah, and he sold that for like $200,000. So it's like they have a track record of building something that is mildly successful. Whereas, you know, I think for you and me, let's say 2 years ago in 2021, when you decided to quit your job, I didn't have any traction of making successful content or building a successful product. And I mean, I don't think you did either because you were just the investment banking world, you know? So I think it's like all the, sure. And like I'm sure that there are those edge cases where people really just go all in with no credibility to their name and they figure out a way out of it. But I think my hypothesis is that most people that do quit something to go all in, they don't do it blindly. Like they have traction to show that they can do something and like survive on their own. Like if I were to be like telling my friends and family, I'd be like, hey, I'm quitting my job to go all in on content right now. Like, sure, they'll be like, okay, that's a crazy decision, but it's not super crazy because it's like, all right, clearly you know a little bit about what you're doing. You've been able to grow an audience. You've been able to make money. You've been able to help other people grow as well. But then if I were to tell them I'm quitting my job full time to build a software startup, I think that's even crazier because like, what credibility do I have there? I've launched 4 products. They've all flopped and I've shut them down. I have zero credibility in that space.
I mean,
you know? So I think ultimately like you,
right? You know what didn't work.
You're not wrong, but it's still like, I think building product is different from like building a successful product as well. I think that's just my 2 cents. And I think that for anyone that's like contemplating quitting their job, that are getting drunk off of listening to productivity porn and hustle porn, it's like, bro, you need I'm guilty. I hate that I listen and watch so much of that shit. It's like it's bad because like in the moment it feels like you're learning and you're doing something productive, but honestly a lot of the times I think it's you're poisoning your brain sometimes by listening to that shit. Like I like it and love it. I hate it and love it at the same time because I'm just like you. I love that type of content, but I'm trying to do a better job of like filtering out the noise and being realer with myself, saying what credibility do you have, what skills do you have.
I quit my job not knowing like what I was going to do. Actually, I didn't quit my job to be a creator. I quit my job to figure it out. Actually, so I went in like cold.
Did you quit pre?
Yeah,
did you do it pre?
I quit my job,
media? Like
and 2 weeks later, I posted my first TikTok.
Holy
I quit with no
shit,
back. I didn't even know I was
crazy.
going to create content. I kind of had an idea. I was like, this is something I want to do, but I would just say I put in my 2-week notice and I sat down. I was like, all right, what's next? All right, let's post some videos. All right, let's go into drop shipping. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not here to be
Wow.
like,
Walk me through
oh
your
yeah, of course
process.
to do that. I'm just like, that's what I did.
Walk me through your process of getting started making content. I actually
Yeah,
don't know what
yeah.
your origin
So
story is.
honestly, making content was something I always wanted to do. So I used to make like gaming commentary back in middle school. Make
No
Team
way.
Fortress 2
That's sick.
commentary. So like, it's like a first. You heard of it? TF2?
Mm,
Yeah,
hmm.
first person shooter game, right? One of the best
Yeah,
games ever
of course,
made, in
yeah.
my opinion. Okay, like fuck League of Legends. Honestly, I hate to see this. Fuck Maple Story. I'm sorry, Jerry.
Yeah.
All right, TF2 is the GOAT. Yeah. We're gonna take this shit.
Crazy.
But
Oh my
but yeah, I
god.
used to make like video game commentary back in middle school, and I always just feel like I enjoyed the idea of like creating content, right? I enjoyed the idea of like building a following. I unfortunately stopped doing that just because like my siblings made fun of me one time, like just literally one time. I got hella self-conscious. You're like an eighth grader, anything like bothers you and stuff, so I just stopped. But it's always something
Yeah.
I want to do. Like you can ask my girlfriend. I've been dating for 5 years. Like even before I quit my job, it was something that I was like kind of like teasing a little bit, but like not like being too serious about because I didn't want to like I guess
Yeah.
jinx it or be like, oh, I'm gonna be a content creator, and then like I failed miserably and it's just like complete shameful and stuff. But yeah, like when I quit my
Yeah.
job, I didn't
Yeah.
even tell any of my coworkers that like this was like a plan of mine. I didn't even think it was a plan of mine, but it was something I wanted to try out again, right? Because I always want to become like a creator. So literally
Hmm.
2 weeks after I quit my job, I pulled out my phone. I didn't even use TikTok that much at that point, but I was like, here's a new platform. It's pretty easy to make videos on this platform. I have a pretty funny idea I can make. Let me just go ahead and make the video. It was like an Attack on Titan scene in which I basically like put subtitles over as like investment banking memes, right? So basically it's a scene where like the colossal titan in the first
Yeah.
episode like destroyed a wall, and now I just pretend it's like, oh, that's like that when the MD calls
Yeah.
you at 12 a.m. to tell you to like fix the pitch book, you know, it's like him breaking down a wall
my
and like,
God.
fucking shit up. And then that video did pretty well. I
Yeah.
got like 16K views. That's my first TikTok, and I guess some can say the rest was history, you know. Like, I was just
Wow.
like, yeah, we'll just keep doing this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got into content. I'll say like honestly, half the reason why I want to create content, and maybe you'll resonate a little bit with this, is because I want to get over the fear of kind of like what other people thought about me, because I feel like I spent a lot of my lives kind of like trying to like pursue this safe path in this mode of like, all right, I'm an engineer. I did well engineering school. I'm gonna be a banker. Like Andrew Meng is like a banker, right? Like he's like on this very lucrative path in life. Like look at this perfect life he's building for himself. Let's be honest, no one gives a shit. Okay, no one cared anyways. But it was in
Yeah.
my head. In my head, I thought like, oh crap, like I have the spotlight on me. Everyone's looking at me, and I kind of want to like kind of destroy my life in a way and break it down to like kind of like prove to myself that like one, no one cares, and number two, like in a way like do something so reckless and foolish that like I make such a fool of myself in a way that I'm able to like stop caring what other people think about me, because I was sick of putting up this image, this idea of like who I was and stuff. So
Yeah.
honestly, half the reason I created content was to kind of get over that fear of judgment. It really was like to put myself out there and be like, judge me all you want. Like I'm gonna face all my demons and try to get over this fear of judgment. Yeah. Did you feel like that?
I mean, on one hand, there was just part of me like I always grew up consuming so much social media content on like YouTube primarily was my main one. But there's definitely a part of me that wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, you know, whatever I wanted to. I don't know if I would say I wanted to like destroy like my previous image per se, but I will say that I wanted to do something different. I think I was at a point like it's like I didn't want to be like a textbook person where it's like your life was so boring because you played it super safe. Not saying that's bad, but it's like one of the reasons why I decided I didn't want to be a textbook individual was because I wanted to be perceived by my peers and other people on LinkedIn and like my college classmates like, oh, he's different.
That's the
he's not
dichotomy
doing this
too.
textbook
I
thing.
know
So
what
it's
you're
like
talking
it's like
Yeah.
it's like did I really want to make content? No. But really, do I really want to be different deep down inside? Sort of. But I know I really do want to be perceived as cool and different by my friends, my family, my peers, just so I can brag about being different. It's pretty embarrassing to say that, but I mean, that's real. I think most people are like that. Like they wanna, like they do it for the clout to be cool. And like when someone's like, hey, what's your random fact at work? It's like, I'm an influencer. Like that's
100%.
definitely a huge portion of it, you know? But now it's definitely gone to a point where it's like, all right, it's fun. Like I do enjoy making content, but it definitely started out with me just being wanting to be like, yeah, I'm different. I'm not like you. I'm not textbook. Like I go outside the box of my pristine, like Ivy League corporate job, like archetyped. Like I'm
100%,
not like
dude.
everyone.
I honestly, like, I think this is a story I tell myself that I'm like, oh, I want to get rid of that fear of judgment from like other people, right? But in reality, it's like maybe the reason why I did it is because I wanted to be once again better and more unique than everyone else. Like, and I'll be lying if like what you said there didn't just like will trigger something in my head of like, ah, fuck, this guy's like hitting like this like part of me. It's like I don't want to admit that part is true, you know. But it's real. It's
Yeah,
real.
man.
Like I'm human. I'm like I have an ego, you know. Like let's be
man.
honest. Everyone that creates content is somewhat at a certain point like somewhat of a narcissist, right? In order to like make content about you and your life,
For
like,
sure.
you have to be a little bit narcissistic, just a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, do I have any credibility? Like, who lets me with like talk like give a career advice, bro? I'm 26. Like, what the fuck? You know, it's like definitely a huge portion of making this content and like blowing up and becoming like a double Z-list celebrity is for the ego and to be able to tell my friends that I do this too. Like, it's so lame, and it's like on one hand it's kind of sad, but I'm being honest with myself and everybody.
Dude,
I'm just being honest.
I'm gonna end up with this, but on that note of like the fun fact in which like you said when you hang out with like coworkers and stuff and you do the circle thing where it's like, what's your fun fact and stuff? That's my fun fact as well. But once I went to a creator meetup, right, of like all the creators, and then we're doing that circle,
shit.
and then when it got to me, I realized without that, I didn't have a fun fact, and it brought me back to like this part of me. It's like, holy shit, I'm not that interesting. Like without attaching my identity to being a creator, it's like, what's your fun fact? It's like, I don't fucking know. Like I travel a lot. I literally said I traveled to Malaysia last month. That was my unique thing about me, my fun fact. It was hella lame.
It's pretty lame.
But isn't that interesting? It's like we think it's so unique, but in a room of creators, you're not that unique. You're just another creator. Who cares?
At the end of the day, man, no one is that different. Like, you are not that different. Like,
Yeah.
there's always going to be someone like you in some way, shape, or form. So I think it is so bad to have your entire worth and like your own self-worth be tied to how different you are from other people. Obviously, I still fall victim to it. I do it all the time, but I know I shouldn't, and it's super unhealthy. But I'm trying to work through that right now, obviously.
Well, guys, this was a less formal, I guess, like more intimate episode as well. Like Thomas just decided halfway through, we were just chatting, shooting shit, and Thomas like, I'm just gonna start recording. I was like, yeah, go ahead. So there was no introduction, but I guess there is an outro here. But let me know if you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have like podcast ideas that you guys want to like just kind of riff raff about, like any topics, let us know in the comments. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.